We now know that there are about 15 people who will be waking up on board there this morning. Another 20 were due to board, but as you say, last-minute legal challenges from the refugee charity Care for Calais meant that didn't happen.
What's it feel like there now? Because we saw pictures yesterday of a few asylum seekers being brought on board, and there were protesters, there were counter-protesters. What's the mood like this morning?
Well, so far this morning there isn't much movement. It's fairly quiet here. You can see the barge, red and grey barge behind me. We've been watching it for a while. There hasn't been much movement in and out, but obviously the Home Office has said that there will be more arrivals in the coming days and the coming months as part of a phased approach. We now know that there are about 15 people who will be waking up on board there this morning. Another 20 were due to board, but as you say, last-minute legal challenges from the refugee charity Care for Calais meant that didn't happen. They accused the Home Office of failing to adequately screen people before earmarking them for boarding. They said a lot of them were either traumatised from crossing the sea, others had disabilities, and others had been victims of slavery. The Home Office, in response, it's thought could be about to cancel their asylum claims and potentially their offer of taxpayer-funded accommodation, because it said the offer of accommodation is not a choice. It said people aren't allowed to choose where they are housed. It updated its government website yesterday to say that claimants could have their claim cancelled if they fail to comply with the process. Now, obviously, it's not certain that this falls under that term, but it could well be the case. Obviously, all of this is part of the government's plan to tackle that growing asylum backlog. There had been hopes that as many as 50 people would board yesterday. There are 50,000 still in temporary accommodation at the cost of £6 million. And even if 50 had boarded, it would still only be 1% of that target. So the government really is under pressure here to get this moving.
And that feeling on the ground, Victoria, what do you make of it? Because we saw footage of there are people welcoming refugees, and there are people who are saying we have our own problems in Portland. We don't want other people here because we don't have enough money to go around or resources to go around as it stands. How do you judge the mood of the community?
Yeah, I think it's really a mixed mood here. Obviously, yesterday when those first coach and minibus arrived, there were people from various charities with welcome banners, with care packs offering toiletries, maps of the local area. But then at the same time, the local mayor yesterday said that she is still very much against it, more from the perspective that it's inhumane, she says, for these people who are having to live on this barge. And there's also then the question of local infrastructure. There's been a lot of question as to whether the local infrastructure can cope with an extra 500 people. NHS services policing will have to be increased. The government, though, says it's confident that it's foreseen all of these circumstances. It's giving 1.7 million to Dorset Council to try and mitigate these factors, and it doesn't think it's going to be a problem. So really still a mixed mood, and I think that will continue as more and more people arrive here in Portland to board that barge.